Okay, a very good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all on frequency. This is the DATV Worldwide Net, held every Sunday. Today hosted by ZS6YI near Johannesburg. Certainly hope you're going to have a good reception today, and that it will be an interesting program with different guys coming up and giving inputs as to what they did during the past week or so. I also just want to take this opportunity of thanking the Qatar Satellite Company for allowing us to have our amateur radio satellite on their major satellite. And so they are hosting us, and for that we are very grateful. We're also very grateful to AMSAT DL, who conceived the idea, Peter, DVL20D, OZ. I came up with the idea, got the thing going, got the finances going, and also was behind the building of the satellite. And then, of course, the BATC with all their valuable info for those that want to come onto the satellite. And then, of course, AMSAT UK. And hello to Peter, DK3 Zulu Fox, also watching on YouTube. Anyway, very successful satellite, the first geostationary satellite for amateur radio use. And I can tell you it's been used very well, and both on DATV like we're doing today, as well on the narrowband side of the satellite where we do Morse code, which is CW, and SSB. But I haven't seen RTTY. I have long ago, but not recently. So there is also data transmissions and a couple of beacons. So it's a very versatile satellite, and it offers a little bit of everything for all radio amateurs interested in doing long-distance communication with relatively low power. That's the beauty of this. So we do encourage more and more people to come up, and it's not all that difficult, especially if you read all the wikis on BATC. You'll have a fair idea. And then we do have Simon Brown, that's developed some very, very fancy software just recently, and it's working very well. You'll see it in action when Martin G8KOE comes up. He's improving it all the time, and it makes it so much easier just with a Pluto or SDR to come onto DATV. You just need a Pluto and an amp and Simon's program. So excellent work being done there as well. Right, so let's just have a look, see who's on the list. I must just get out of this program to get that on. Hang on, and let's just load it up, and then I'll bring in the list. Now, it keeps changing. Not the list changes, it's my screen as somebody fills in. Okay, let's try there. It's not very accurate. There we go. So let me just bring the list of participants today. One moment. And there we go. Hello to Paul, G6MNJ. He wants to discuss the TS reader for those that know what it is. Okay, we're all going to learn. And then hello to Benno, Papa Alpha 3 Fox Bravo X-ray. And to Phil, a Mike 0 PIT. And thanks for those photos, the videos, Phil. It came through very, very well indeed. Don't know what's happening, why Martin's not filled in. But anyway, I can't do anything about that right now. And then it'll be to Martin, G8KOE. And then to Nigel with a new dish. That's good, Nigel. Mike 9, November Tango Romeo. Just want to see if I can fix this, but I'll do that on the next over. Just see what's going on here. There we go. I can go back. It should be all right now. So there we go. We've got Martin on, and then to Nigel. Righto, Paul, if you wouldn't mind taking it and telling us all about what you want to discuss. So please take it there, Paul. G6 Mike November Juliet from Zulu Sierra 6 Yankee India.
signal. I can hear my crackly audio. Right, let's turn that on my monitor, otherwise I'll be hearing myself all afternoon. And I'll just lift the gain a little bit on the microphone. Anyway, good afternoon to everybody, and yeah, I would echo the thanks for providing the satellite facility we all have. It also helps to look at the camera, doesn't it? Right, I want to talk about TS Reader today. In particular, I'm looking for some volunteers. A very good friend of mine, G6TTD, or KG6TTD as he became, wrote TS Reader, and I'll give you a little flavour of what it is in a second. As Benno correctly pointed out, it is Transport Stream Reader, and it can be used with any, with a lot of receiving cards, DVB-T, S, with cable feeds, you name it, all sorts of things. Muni-tune, using an UDP stream, which is what I'll show you in a minute. The incredible thing about it is it's a DVB-S toolkit in many respects. I'm always impressed with things like Mini-tune and what they can do for you, but this goes 10 layers deeper. Anyway, before you're bored with looking at me, let me just take that to there. Just make sure I've still got audio. Yep, I have, which is good. Now, you're all familiar with that, obviously, and that's currently pointing at the beacon on Oscar 100. Now, the UDP stream is on, and that's feeding port 1234 on the IP address of this computer. Hiding behind it is TS Reader, which is picking up this stream and splitting this out into the program, the identification of the program, contains the video, the audio, the network information. And obviously, when you've got something like a satellite broadcast company, you see multiple channels in this section. The nice, well, I'll quickly whiz through one or two of the niceties. You can chart quite a lot of things. For example, signal level, a bit pointless on a UDP stream, but if you've got a satellite dish, as we all have, and a DVB-S receiver card in your PC, then you could look at the signal level as it goes up and down as the rain clouds go over. PID usage, I'll show you that one, that's quite pretty. So you get a breakdown of PIDs for that particular source. Got to be careful what to call these things, because obviously this could be DVB-S, DVB-T, it could be cable, it could be numerous sources. So I'm being careful not to say just one of them. Anyway, what I'm leading towards is, sadly, my friend, he died last year, and he made absolutely no provision for the future. And it's my understanding there are tens, if not hundreds of thousands of users of this. Now, he and I did work very closely together, and he often dropped by and dropped off as a CD of the source code. And I've been in contact with the family, and I have permission to get this onto GitHub, with the help of some programmers who know their C language, bring it back to life on the basis that it's no longer a commercial product. The full professional version will be made available to the world, and thus his legacy doesn't die with him. This represents a lot of time and effort, as I'm sure any programmer will know. The main core, I think, is 22,000 lines of C, plus there are dozens and dozens and dozens of cores and libraries and things. So it's not an insignificant project. It's an incredibly powerful project. It does other clever stuff. It will record programs. It'll do this on a schedule if you want it to. It'll play back through, say, VLC or FF Play. You can forward it around the network using UDP. There's also a product standalone to this which records individual programs and archives them. And in fact, for many years, that's what he and I did. We archived news channels and programs from all around the world, and you'll find the fruit of the work we did on archive.org. We both stopped. Well, he's obviously stopped doing it, but I stopped doing it about 10 years ago now. But this little program here is an amazingly useful tool. I really don't have the time to show you everything it does, but there is a TS Reader Lite, and if you just Google that, you'll find plenty of places you can download that for free. But the main website's gone. It's no longer for sale, and I want to bring it back to life, probably on one of these bases that, given obviously GitHub will have costs, and hosting a website for it has costs, that will probably ask for donations. But what I'm looking for is some like-minded individuals who know their C to join me on this journey of resurrecting and getting this back up and available to the world. So, Benno, I will put my camera back on. There we go. And say to you, it's over to you. What a lovely little gem I've got on my hands. Maybe. This is G6M.
Yeah, you got a nice job. Hi guys, thanks for leading the net, Gary, and all the good work you're doing every week, in and out. Yeah. Well, Paul, good job to keep at least the legacy alive, and yeah, I hope it will be available. I have an older version. I occasionally use it. I should use it probably more, but I am not in the process of figuring out exactly what everyone is sending with, as I should maybe. But I like if I can see the picture clear. I'm pretty quick satisfied. I should, well, you can call that. Well, anyway, what am I up to? Well, that's a complete different story. I had some problems with my house heating over the last few weeks. Let's raise it a little bit. Why that happens, I don't know. My power occasionally goes down. Maybe I should recheck my whole power line, my RF line. My heating was out, as I mentioned before. Had big problems. I went from gas to full electric last year. This winter was basically the first big test. and I got problems with the outside unit. Well, that's replaced by now and solved my problems, but one of the problems, it took a lot of power, meaning so much power that it in the end it blew out a fuse of the main input, and that needs to be corrected from the power company. It was one phase switched off, pulled more than 30 amps, and the fuse was blown there. So that made me think, well, maybe I have not organized my power station, my power grid completely correct. I have 3-phase. It should be equally distributed over the 3-phase. And well, I have obviously the dishwashing, the wash machine, and the well, all the other power, high power demand, and including my shack. So I was looking at some way to figure out how much power I'm drawing, and now my power is raised again. It really needs to be checked. I have no clue what's actually happening, but I can quickly intervene. Yeah, well, for that I got myself some coils which we use at our company, at the factory I'm working at. And well, basically, if I just quickly draw. I mean, you have 3-phase and you have 3 coils, and it picks up like one of these, you know, these, and it will pick up the current you're actually drawing at that moment. I only have one of these, so I have my reference, but yeah, that needs to be connected, and then I have one of those. But I needed to check and monitor my 3-phase. So I started to do that, and yeah, I couldn't get it stable. That's the basic story. Obviously we have 50 Hertz here in the Netherlands, and I expected 50 Hertz with the right, well, with some kind of signal of 50 Hertz out of there. What's this? This is not the right one. So it is a 100 to 1 coil. So I need to expect something with 100 divided by 100, and expect something like that. So I started to measure. First of all, I started to put it, make a DC signal of it, so it's more easier to measure. I couldn't get straight answers. Very high voltages, up to 60-70 volts, and I wasn't expect that. I was expect about 4 or 5 volts or something like that at the time. So then I figured out, let's get the oscilloscope and measure. And I found that I have a huge noise on my 50 Hertz signal. And I now wonder if my coils are maybe not frequency selective, if they do a better job on if they do a better job on a higher frequency. I don't know how that works. So I'm at the moment I'm a little bit stuck. I managed to get it nicely to DC, but still the noise is giving me a lot of power in my DC voltage. So I'm still not convinced that this is the reason, this is the work how it should done. And yes, Chris, I have a smart meter, and yes, I can plug in the P1 in there and get the voltage there, but I want basically, first of all, I want the whole house, but I also want to check out the shack here, as it is also 3-phase in the shack here. And now I figure out that I have a lot of noise, which is nice to know, because you don't like noise as a ham. And I already knew that because I already heard it on the HF. But yeah, the noise is something we all want to pursue and to get rid of. And now I probably by accident how things works. By accident figured out that I can easily detect my noise and figure out where it comes from by eliminating the devices and measure it in comparison to what I expect. But I wonder if anyone has experience with those coils and can imagine if they are doing a better job for higher frequencies, meaning if you have a few milliamps on a high frequency, you get huge results of that in respect of your yeah, well, that's about it. The correct load resistor, yeah, that's also something I thought about, and I can put some resistance in there, but I don't know what the actually resistor current should be at that point. But you can put some coil of resistance in there, David. I've tried both ways at the moment, but well, let's say I'm still struggling and playing along. That's about it. Passing it on to the next guy, one other clever guy, Phil. I thought it was you. Let's quickly check. I lost my agenda. Ah, sorry for that. Yeah, there it is. I'm passing it on to, I should pay attention more. Yeah, Phil, I was okay. M0 PIT from Papa Alpha 3 Foxtrot Bravo X-Ray. Somewhere along the line I have a test card, and the frequency is all yours from PA3 Fox Bravo X-Ray.
Oh, cheers, Benno. The audio might be a bit low. Whack it up a bit. Move the microphone nearer, probably is easier. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are. Interesting. I'll start off with you, Paul. I did. In the early days, when I was writing code for FFmpeg, I did have some problems, and I'm sure I had a look at that program, but I think it would have been running under Windows, which I don't like and I don't use. But I'm sure I did have a look at it, and I was a bit disappointed because I don't think I could understand how to use it. And I'm sure it would have helped me. But as I say, it was on Windows, so the slightest problem, I just turned me back on it, I'm afraid to say. I would love to help, would love to. My coding is, well, pretty poor to say the least. I can just about get by, but on large programs, forget it. No, but I would love to help. And I admire you for taking on such a massive project. And good luck to you. And I'd like to see it on GitHub at some time. But if there is a Linux version of it, I would love to have a play with it. But I'm pretty certain there isn't. What we got? Benno. I can't really help. All I can say is that I needed to monitor some current. It was on a single phase, I purchased a proper current transformer, and I used that, and it gave me the results that I was looking for. It was just to find out what the load was, and to monitor it over a period of time, and it worked. And all I can remember was it was a commercial current transformer designed for the job, and that was on a single phase, 240 volt AC supply, and I think from memory I was monitoring about 8 kilowatts at the time. But I'm sure there's some people around that will be able to explain what's going on your current transformer. What have I been doing? Oh, Gary. I wished you those, or I allowed you to get access to those files, should I say. There is a picture on there, and it's a picture of me and Tony. Tony's director of the project. He's no longer around. And that photograph was taken, I believe it was 2008. I'm pretty certain it was 2008, because we finished the machine in 2008, and the part that I put on is there in the photograph, so it must have been towards the end, so it was 2008. Anyhow, that's enough of that. And I just hope they are what you were after, Gary. If not, I'm sure I'll be able to do something else for you. So that was that. What else have we got? Oh yeah, what have I been up to? Well, I'm going to go back in history. When I started on the satellite, my PA is remote, and I built an Arduino controller that I can access from the shack over Ethernet over power adapters into the shack, and I can control the PA, etc., etc. And I used an Arduino Mega. The program worked. However, when I took it outside and accessed it from inside the shack, it wouldn't power up correctly, and the only way I could ever get it to work was to power up the Ethernet over power adapter that is remote, power that up first, and then come into the shack and then connect. If I did it the other way round, if I powered up the power over Ethernet second, I couldn't get a connection to it over Ethernet, and I lived with that. And occasionally, very, very occasionally, I would lose connectivity to it, and I never really got to the bottom of that. But when I did all my testing in the shack with it, everything worked. I never had any problems. As soon as it went outside, I had problems. But now I've been living with these problems. But I decided that I was going to build myself a faster controller, and I used a Dew. This is it here. It's got an Ethernet adapter in it. That some of those have to be modified, I know that. There's the I/O board on the top. And when I had it up here, it worked fine. In the shack, it worked fine. Put the code on it, sorted all the code out, and it worked fine. But as soon as I put it on external supply, not USB, it wouldn't power up correctly. And yet, if I pressed the reset button on it, it worked. Anyhow, to cut a long story short, I ended up doing some digging on the internet, and I found that on the Arduino Duo clone boards, there is a component that is missing, and it can cause problems. So if any of you guys are ever playing around with, not this one, it's the wrong board. There we go. If you're ever playing around with an Arduino Duo, there is a 10k resistor which I have added. See that red circle there? I've added that 10k resistor onto a transistor. It basically pulls up one of the reset lines, pulls it high. And as soon as I put that on, I have not had a single problem with it, and it works perfectly. So that's on the Arduino Duo, but let me get my face back. There we go. On the Arduino, that was on the Arduino Duo, but the Mega, this is a Mega here, I had a look for a similar type of problem on that. And what I found is that if you don't have the USB connection connected to it, the USB receive line is unterminated, and that can cause the same type of power-up issues. So let's have a look. So if I go to that one, and the fix is quite simple. You just put a 10k resistor between ground and RX. Since I have done that, I have not had a single problem on my remote Arduino, and I can power it up whichever way I want now. So that's two modifications on Arduinos that if you're ever playing around with them, I suggest that that you do those mods. Now I'm just looking for my camera. So that's me. That's a bit of a waffle. And I was looking earlier on the satellite, and I saw Martin and Gary talking about my camera that I use. Well, it's the cheapest camera that I've ever come across. It cost me, I don't know how much, about £6 or £7. It is total clone from AliExpress. I don't know if you can get them. It has no real maker's name on it. This is the box, which is really blow. Yeah, let's try another camera because it's being bleached out. Let's try that one. Is that any better? Oh, that's a better one, isn't it? Whoops, that way. There it is. That's what the box looks like. It's it says on the box HD. Cost me about, I don't know, £8 or something like that. And that's the camera that I normally use, and it's wide angle as well. And for that type of money, I can't believe it. But anyway, that's a big long waffle from me. Sorry guys for hogging the satellite. So now I'm going to hand it over. Oh, I'm going to hand it over to Martin, King of England. So if you're ready then, Martin, I'm going to put up a test card, and then I shall kill carrier.
Okay, let's make sure we got a bit of sound, and then I'll kill it. Okay, yeah, I think we got a bit of sound. Yeah, I wasn't sure I was going to make it. I've been having severe internet problems. I've had them in the past, and they've reoccurred. It's I think the overhead feed feed cable as such, as it blows in the wind, causes corruptions on the things, which build up and then cause a reset of the router, which is a real pain in the what's-it when you're using DNS side of things and various other bits and pieces. So trying to run my SRT repeater and the All-Star node has been a pain, to put it mildly. In a day it can be 8-9 times. Friday was exceedingly bad, and I did contact BT yet again and explained to the guy who was he went away and said he'd organise an engineer, which he did do, which came out Saturday. Now I don't know whether you know, in the UK you've got the BT, which is the service provider, and OpenReach that actually run the network. Well, I was expecting an OpenReach engineer because the fault is external to the shack or the house as such. When the guy came, the OpenReach guy came last time, he could detect a glitch 65 metres away on the feed, which is right where the pole is. And it was supposed to be organising someone to come in and sort out the new feed, but for some reason things got lost, didn't happen, shall we say. So we've gone back to square one. So the engineer came on Saturday. I explained the long thing, which has started before Christmas, but it looked as though they'd fixed it because things settled down. And I used to get the odd little break up, but I wasn't thinking much of it. And as Carol was in hospital over Christmas, etc., mind was elsewhere. But now things are starting to settle down a little bit at home. I've why did I drop out? He says. I don't notice anything. I dropped out on multiple receivers. Anyway, seem to be back, I think. Nothing would surprise me of anything happening. So that's the story with my internet side of things. At the moment, I'm using SDR television 1.06, I think it is, yeah, which basically seems to be working exceedingly well. Although it didn't like your signal pool to start with. Do I need more signal, he says. Oh yeah, I seem to be losing. Right, let's up a bit more power, he says. Just a second. Right. Well, it was dropping out on everybody. It was certainly dropping out on me. We've upped the power a little bit, so hopefully we can be back in business. But it could be my receive there, Paul, so I wouldn't take much of it. But yeah, it was just slow initially to lock on. I've got sort of 3 receivers on the go here at the moment. And to you there, Benno, I'd join in on the GB3SQ net and ask on there, because I know the man there produced a little printed circuit board, etc., because he was monitoring all these electronic devices that he had in the house. So there was a software package, etc., I think, that was produced on a little. So he's obviously used multiple sensors. So he was monitoring things like the freezer, etc., and that, and trying to work out. And it could log down all the times and such like. So don't know. That's where I would go for some information. And 3-phase, my only limited experience on 3-phase was we used to do the maintenance of the sound 10i sort of system in Amex in Brighton, and various other bits of kit, etc. and such like. And they lost their neutral on their 3 phases there to their massive building. And that caused a lot of problems, to put it mildly. We're in there fixing stuff for months afterwards. There was just so much kit that just went for a walk with the extra voltage that ended up being across it. The other experience I had is on the lighting company that I work for, did sound and lighting, putting in various lighting controller racks, etc. And the guy who put it in had forgotten, because it was just tested, I think, and it had a buzz bar put across all 3 phases. And so he put it in and wired it in a establishment in Bognor Regis in the south coast in the UK, and powered it up, and the whole of the sort of there was a shake somewhat of the whole of the building, and some massive great fuses were taken out, which cost us an absolutely arm and a leg to get replaced. So that's my limited experience with 3-phase, and yeah, I think that's probably about it for me. I've been waffling for 7 minutes at this rate, but yeah, that's my suggestion there, Benno. Might would be go to the GB3 SQNet and ask there, and I think you'll find that some information will come forth. Right, I think it's round to Nigel, M9NTR, with I think a new dish. So I'll put a test card, and it's all yours from G8KOE.
We wait for Nigel. Yeah, Nigel, I don't know why we've not seen you, but I'm sure we'll get you on the next over. All right, I just want to also say hi to Peter. I did say DK3 Zulu Fox, or DK3 Zulu Fox in Hanover. He's got snow. Looks like the whole of Europe has. Adam, SP9 Alpha Charlie Quebec in Poland's also got winter snow. Nice photos, thanks there, Adam. Albert, Ocean November 4 Alpha Hotel in Belgium. He's got snow as well, so it's widespread. And hello to Ismail, Delta Lima 2 India Echo. Those are the guys that have at least commented on YouTube. Right, firstly, Paul, it's a very, very noble gesture that you're doing to get onto this project. I think it's wonderful to keep the legacy alive. What I might suggest to you, we've got 2 really good software writers in South Africa. The one is ZR6 Tango Golf, Tom, and the other one is ZS1 SCI. And Johan, it's Johan without the J. So maybe I can get their phone numbers for you and give you a ring on WhatsApp. I don't think I've got your WhatsApp info, but we can always get it, and then maybe you can discuss it with them. I can on your behalf if you want to. Owen's written this very software that I'm using at the moment, DATV Red, and it seems to be working out okay. The quality is good. And then Tom has done a lot. He's also published a lot on the BATC with multiple receivers, etc. So they both have good knowledge on FF, MPEG, etc. So I hope that works. Benno, yeah, three-phase. Yeah, we use three-phase, of course, in our factories. And if one phase goes down, we've got certain phase protectors so that it stops the motor from coming on, burning out. And then we have to find the fault. And sometimes it's a bad connection on the main line somewhere, and even from their transformer, you find it arcing over. But yeah, I've got three-phase at home as well, and also my generator, my backup generator is three-phase, so it works well while it works. And we run 50 hertz, 220 volt between phases, which more than likely, more than often, is you read around about, if you look at the phases individually, it's 380 volt, but often we go up to 420. Don't know why that should be. It used to be very stable, but it's gone up. So it does make a difference on what the supplier is doing. Yeah, but talking about noise, I had a very interesting issue many years back at my other QTH. I had just received a Kenwood TS950 SDX with a nice TL922 linear. And I put it on, and it wasn't long, and I had a phone call from my neighbor. Now, I had a KT34XA up at 110 feet above ground, and everything was done properly, like it's supposed to be. Anyway, this neighbor phones me and he says, I'm causing interference. I said, well, that's interesting, because on my own television it wasn't causing a drop of interference. Now, we had two channels. One was on VHF, and he was watching one on UHF, which was even more difficult for me to make interference. But it wasn't long, and I got a phone call from the post office. Those days, the post office ran amateur radio as well. And luckily, I knew the guy quite well, and he came out with his brand new spectrum analyzer, big Hewlett-Packard thing, and he saw my signal was absolutely clean. That Kenwood TS950 put out a beautiful signal. So I went with him next door, and there were 20 different errors on this guy's installation, on his antenna. 20 different errors. Anyway, this guy wrote a report, gave it to him, and said the issue's not with me, the issue's with him. So he got a technician in, gave the guy the list, and the guy obviously got it sorted, because his complaints died out. However, one day I'm on 28 megs, and the next minute I see one massive lightning strike over the pan adapter. I thought, what the hell? And look at the TV, and you just see sparkles on the TV all over. So I take a little AOR receiver, and I thought it must be one of the lines from the pole. So I go up the road, and I still see these sparkles, and the meter goes. And I don't know what made me go into the back of my garden. And the next minute, this bar graph got stuck in the end with red as these sparkles came. And when I looked up, this guy had a ultraviolet mosquito catcher. It's a very strong element, shocking element, a couple of 1,000 volts, with ultraviolet lamp. This attracts the bugs and what have you, and then it incinerates it. And there were little beetles, and as they went in, by golly, it caused havoc on the VHF TV as well, but not on UHF, strangely enough. It must have petered out by then. So I phoned the guy. I said, you won't believe this, but the shoe's on the other foot now. Your bug catcher is causing serious television problems, as well as on my amateur radio. So he says to me, well, you better go and see. You must have a bad transistor. Fix your transistor. He wanted nothing more to do with it. I thought, okay, you bugger. So I took a UHF amplifier, put it on, and one of these little preamps for receiving. But I then triggered it with the scope. So when the scope came to a certain level, it would switch on and modulate that noise onto the little amp. So the moment, it was a beautiful feedback system, the moment a bug hit his thing, my scope would go nuts, and I would send a signal out blocking his UHF TV channel, but totally. Then it happened for a few days or so, and I saw him one night with his wife standing outside, and watching. He's watching the TV, she's watching, and when the bug hits, of course his TV went down, but he didn't know it was my feedback loop that was causing that. Anyway, needless to say, he switched off that contraption permanently, and that was the end of my problems. So I thought I'll just mention that little trick. It was an interesting story, but I had to laugh when he said, "Oh, it must be one of your transistors giving trouble. Go and sort it out." So I thought, okay, there's 2 ways to kill a cat. Let's do it the, the ugly way. But it worked. Phil, perfect. Those photographs were perfect, and I did see the photo when you were quite a bit younger, and standing in front of the wonderful contraption you guys made, the Colossus. And thanks for those photos. They are absolutely perfect, exactly what Natalie was looking for, and she did tell me to please, or ask me to please say thank you very much indeed. And when that little speech goes out, she'll let us know how it went. Yeah. Martin, yeah, on the internet. Funny, Natalie used to be a director at BT, and they were amazed that she knew quite a bit about fiber, and because she's a radio ham. She's now ZA6 India Yankee. I've just renewed her license on Thursday for another 5 years. But she never comes on the air, obviously. But she did the other day at Bletchley. And there were many members of public in that shack, and they were amazed at how clear we came through from South Africa on QO-100. Right. Let me just see. From Austria, there's Ocean Echo. Ah, Paul, how are you, man? Ocean Echo 8 Papa Charlie Kilo. Nice to see you on, and you're watching, and I'm so glad to hear that, Paul. We were very concerned with the health issues you had earlier, but it seems as though things are going, and that's fantastic. We hope to have you on the air one of these days, Paul. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and bring Nigel in again. So Nigel, if you can start getting ready, failing which, we then pass it to Paul Golf 6 Mike November Juliet. So Nigel, if you don't come up, will you then take it, please, Paul? Mike 9 November Tango Romeo from Zulu Sierra 6 Yankee India.
Okay, that's that done. Sorry, Nigel, your signal strength was not very high, unfortunately. I've upped my power just a little bit, because when I started the over back at 3 o'clock this afternoon, we had blue sky and sunshine and white fluffy clouds. It's all gone grey. It's all gone very, very heavy rain, and judging by those who are watching the Goo and Hilly feed, that's why the signals are bouncing up and down. We have rain coming through Cornwall, big time. So it's another day this year where we've had rain every day of the year so far. Okay, so let's answer some questions. Yeah, I'm a bit mad, aren't I, taking this on, but it just seems to be such a great tool, and I think, as M0PIT put it, it's not available on Linux, and you know that's possible, I'm sure. It is still a Windows product, but it is written in C, so I dare say it could be ported over in time, like a lot of these things. So who knows what the future holds on that. And that's why I'm sort of looking out now for people like Tom and Ohan, because I think I need an international team with suitable skills to pick up the project, which I will get on to GitHub this year. You're probably thinking, oh, why doesn't he do it tomorrow? Well, my friend's son is going to visit his old house and take an image of TS Reader as it stands now, which would of course be the latest version with all bug fixes up to date. I've got a much older version, and if for whatever reason he fails to do that, then we will fall back a few versions. But at least we've got the source code of a few versions ago. I've also got a copy of his website and a description of all the fixes, so we may have to re-fix some of the broken code if it's felt necessary. So looking at this here. Oh yes, the subject of cameras. Yeah, I too have a cheap camera. I got mine off Amazon for £9, and it just works, and it works really, really well. So much money on kit, but when it comes down to it, sometimes it just makes do to be a bit frugal. Benno, with your interference, the only experience I've had with mains-borne interference turned out to be on the ring main of this house, and that was loose connections on the outlets in the wall, and in fact I went around the whole house and replaced all the sockets and the switches and things, and the original noise that was very prevalent was down to very loose connections. And in fact, often with 50 Hz or 60 Hz mains, the vibration of the current going backwards and forwards can actually work these screws loose, particularly on high load devices such as kettles, immersion heaters, etc. No, I didn't believe that when I was first told it either, but it is true. I've just downloaded SDR television. I think that's G4ELI, isn't it? Simon, he lives locally down here in Cornwall too, and he's another person I want to knock on the door and see if he's interested in joining my merry throng of resurrecting TS Reader for the masses. What's this I've written? I made notes. I did make notes, and I now can't read my own writing, so this is a good start. Oh yes, Martin. Internet problems. Oh yes, internet problems. The street that's 100 feet in that direction all has fibre. Mine doesn't. And what's worse, mine isn't fed from their box at the end of their road. We have a separate duct all the way down into the village, which is about 1 kilometre, in which copper cables are laid. And we kept asking the question, well, why can't you stick fibre in it? Why can't we go fibre? I think it's something like 60% of the houses wanted to go fibre, but that wasn't enough. It would cost them too much. So I eventually decided to go 5G with the news that our 14th century village down here in Cornwall, an old fishing village, was one of the first on the coast to have 5G. So I thought, oh, what the heck. We rely on digital communications quite heavily in amateur radio, so why can't I use it for internet? And it's been amazingly successful. It's very fast. It does everything I want, with one tiny exception. I could no longer run the Echolink node here because it kind of chopped up the audio. No idea why. Couldn't be bothered to find out. Good friend of mine, Kevin, stepped up, who's got fibre and is now hosting it. So thank you, Kevin. Yes, Tom and Ohan. Gary, if you Let me think. I'll put my email address on today's sheet, and if you pop that over to them, they can contact me via email. I don't mind sharing that on the sheet, so that will do. So anyway, I've had a busy week as always. I've done a fair bit in the shack. I've just ordered another Pluto from AliExpress, which upgrades all my Plutos for transmission on 2 meters, 70 centimeters and 23 centimeters. One of the old Plutos is now being used with the computer over behind me on the workbench with Satsugen as another spectrum analyzer, because my HP spectrum analyzer only goes to 1.5 gigs. But for most things, it's all good. I can see Nigel's. Is that a new message saying he's ready? I'm not sure. Well, I suggest when I'm finished, perhaps leave a gap, and maybe Nigel may or may not be able to appear. That's lost my train of thought, hasn't it? So yeah, just been a busy week. But I wish you all a good coming week, and as I say, hopefully I'll see you next week, and thank you for watching. So I'm going to go off now and check my transistors. This was G6MNJ, passing it to... who's next? Feeling it's Benno, isn't it? Yes, it's Benno on the list, so I'd leave a small gap, Benno, just in case Nigel is ready, but I'm not sure if I'm reading an old message or not. So 73 all, and I shall watch till the end, and talk to you all next week. Here's a test card. Bye-bye. Oops, no. There's a test card.
Three. 1, 2, 3. Give it more power. M9 NTR. M9 NTR. I don't know if I'm coming through. I've turned it full power. Let's see. Oh, right. Am I getting it? One, two, three. Well, I'm going to carry on. Right, I've just turned the volume down. Sorry about that, chaps. I was ready for earlier on, and as soon as it was my turn, the camera went down. I don't know. But yes, I've been about a year and a half since I've been on the net, but I've finally changed my dish. I've got a Travel Master from a recommendation from Rob. Off the BATC lads said they're one of the best ones to get. So we managed G4 TSN John went up to Sheffield way and picked 2 up. So he's had one and I've had one. So hopefully that's give us a 10.3 EMR on the beacon when nobody's on. We've got a Helix on the transmit, but I'm still using, I knocked it down a dB, so, but I'm transmitting 3.7. So I don't know if it's, but, things for stable enough, but for some reason it's not. I don't know. For 1.1, I don't know, it's got a bug. What I'm going to have to do, I'm going to try it Windtail on the receiver and then just use VSDR TV for transmit. The transmission, very good. Who was it? Let's see. Paul, yeah. You were breaking up. Every 10 seconds you was going about a second frame out. I'm not going to keep it because probably FEC or whatever, but I'll land it. I'll take it down the list again. I won't come. Well, I might come. No, I won't come back again. I'll just monitor and see why things are happening in reports. So, Benno, when I've dropped the carrier, I'll hand it over to you from Papa Alpha 3 Fox Bravo X-ray from M9 NTR. Drop carrier now and hope to get it, improve it better. So, Benno, over to you, mate.
Yes, Nigel. A little bit strong. Let's see, I have a camera somewhere along the line. I have the camera. Hi Nigel. Yeah, basically your picture was okay. Hi Nigel. Your audio was also okay, a bit hard, loud. Your audio was also okay, but maybe mine is it's too far away. I should come a little bit more to the front. Anyway, yeah, your signal went a little bit down, and a little bit further down, a little bit further down, and then you were just below the threshold here. So let me switch off my back noise, my own sound. So that is what happens here, and somewhere along the line I lost you, then you came back a little bit, so your power is going up and down, as is mine, as is everyone's, because the whole Gunheli is going up and down with the weather over there. Yeah, that happens. Anyway, yeah, for everyone pointing me to nice power checks and other ideas how to measure and to control it. Yes, I know. There are so many options, and I have a few of them here, but I'm not checking power devices. I was checking the whole power input to the whole shack, and I found out not only that I was taking some power, which is interesting to know, but expected, but I have also a lot of system noise here on my and if I see the current, there's no, I don't have a quick camera here showing you, but if you see what at the moment is my current signal is, it's crazy. And yes, a good pointer, Paul, to use the right resistance. I knew that, I forgot it to build it to the last part, but now I mounted it and I can still see some strange spikes on my power, and that is something I have to figure out which device it will give out, and in the end it will do much more than just measuring my power, and that is my power consumption. That's what I wanted to check in the first time. Okay, that's all for now. 73s, all have a good week, and meet you again probably next week. I think so, yes. So have a good week. There's no snow yet here, but we were expecting some, but it's still dry, although it's very windy here in the Netherlands, on this side of the Netherlands at least. 73 is all, and passing it on to you, Phil. And keep in mind that if I ever use another Arduino network clone, I need to maybe check with you, because yes, a clone is always so good. That's all the parts, if the parts are there. From PA 3 Fox Bravo X-ray signing off and clear. Bye bye, and passing it to you, Phil.
Yeah, thanks, Benno. Yeah, so there's the resistor on the Mega. That is also recommended for original Arduino boards, because the receive, the RX on the USB connectors don't have any termination on them, so if they're not connected you can get noise. So it's not just clones. But the other one, the DEW, yeah, that is due to the fact there's a component missing, as it is a clone. Food for thought. You, Benno, you mentioned that you were seeing spikes. Now that implies that you are using some sort of scope or something else. Now if that scope or whatever it is mains driven, you're going to pick up noise. And I would suggest that on the current transformer, what you actually do with the scope is to use it in differential mode, and that should actually give you a true signal as to what is coming out of that transformer, because otherwise you're going to pick up noise coming in on the earth that the mains is plugged into, etc, etc. I don't know if that's what you're supposed to do, but that is certainly something that I would look at, because I've had problems with noise appearing on scopes for various reasons, and put it into differential mode and the signal disappears. So you just basically isolate the scope from whatever you're monitoring. Anyhow, that's enough of that. There might be a load of rubbish, but that's what I found. Right then, Martin, I don't have anything else to say, mate. So I'm going to hand it over to you. So I'm going to find a test card. Do you have a test card? Let's find. What one should we have? Should we have? Yeah, let's add the wobble test card. Brings back memories. Over to you then, Martin.
Right, let's put a bit of sound on. Hopefully, right, let's put a bit of sound on. Yep, let me mute this in so I don't. Well, that's a picture from the corner of my bungalow. And if you look to the right of the ball that's swinging around, the pole at the end there, so it's to the right of the telephone box that you can see. That's the one which a cable comes directly across to the corner of the bungalow. And at the bottom, there's actually a bus stop arrangement, but there's a box there which is where the main feed is in. Now the link between the box that comes in and the bottom of that pole is for a multi sort of cord cable, and that loses 100 megs in that short distance. Let's see, Open Reach Engineer sort of tested and found, oh, there goes a car, just about, not particularly good pictures, but anyway. And the signal from the top of the pole across my bungalow loses another 100 megs. Now I actually end up with an okay signal here, so they've obviously pushed it up to get sufficient that I get what I should get here, what I'm paying for. But the cable that's running from the pole across the corner of the bungalow apparently is some old cable which isn't up to the what they're trying to push down it. So, you know, I reckon the problem is the cable. Well, it's definitely the cable. Now on that pole will go as soon as they get it. It's destined to happen. Is an 8-way fibre feed. So I keep putting my name down and shouting up them on the list. As soon as fibre comes, I will get fibre across from there. So it is coming. The Open Reach engineer showed me it was coming. He could show me a plan of where they were going to put the bits and pieces, but didn't have an actual time scale of when it was going to happen. So yeah, what can I say? Anyway, good to see Nigel. His signal was dropped down, and I couldn't. When it was there, it wasn't bad at all. So good to see you there, Nigel. But I then lost you fighting between the different receivers I've got. That's about all I can have. Time stream reader. I know in DATV Red is time stream duck. I think that's what it's called. Is actually incorporated in it. So Ohan has actually done that. So you can actually bring that in DATV Red to analyse things. But I know both of them are exceedingly busy, so I wish you luck. But good project. My programming skills are about Spectrum sort of style, basic. So on my toy at the moment, which is that beastie, which is a retro later one. It's the redone, which has the games all inside, etc. So I'm sad, and Manic Miner lives or something. Anyway, I'm not sure who I pass it to. Oh, I hit the mute button. Not sure who I pass it to. No. It's muted again. I think probably to Gary. With a pause. Good to see everybody. Hopefully I'll try and make it next week. All hopefully everything will be working by then. Although today, so far, things have been good, and as you could see from the pictures dying, there's just a bit of sun disappearing. We've had some sun. I don't know if I've got. Not all my cameras are working at the moment because. Oh yeah. That's the back garden, so you can see those shadows and sun and sort of blueness in the sky. I've got another camera, but because the network keeps changing, they're all the cameras are on the network. So anyway, Sense Weasel, round to you there, Gary with the pause. Test garden, it's yours. Catch you all next week.
Okay, very good. Martin, let me just see that we're on. Yeah, we just want to say hi to Johan, ZS1 Alpha. He's very keen to come on. Did I really spell Worcester the wrong way for the second time? My golly. Did you see? Yeah, I did. Hey? Can I be that stupid? Okay. Okay. No, good, Johan. Yeah, ZS1ALJ. Now we go about this. Okay. We can always help you. Not a problem. It'd be nice to have you on DATV. Right, gentlemen, with that, I'm going to close the net. Thank you all for coming up today. It's been wonderful. Been very interesting. Good topics again. And we'll see you guys next week, all being equal. It's almost my dinner time, so I've been called. So with that, I'm going to close the net. Bid everyone 7-3. Thanks for coming up. See you guys next week. And cheers to all the YouTube guys watching as well. We had 51 views and 18 concurrent. So that's, well, it was 19 until a minute ago. 7-3 all, ZS6YI, and now QRT.
Coming back for a final test. To see if I drop out again. So that should be, I think what FEC am I using? Let's do that a minute. Where's the mouse? That's 2 fades. So whether I need to go down to 1.5, I don't know. But yeah, and what I'm going to try and do next time is use the Winter Hill for receive and just use the transmit for STR-TV to see if it keeps it. Because I don't know if that's what's causing the problem. I don't know. Could be wrong. But yeah, it seems to be transmitting, but obviously not stable enough to receive. Anyway, if somebody could come out with a report, that would be fine. So I'll kill carrier. If anyone can come back to me for a report on second fade over, it'd be nice. M9 NTR now going back to start.
Okay, no, that over was okay, but you started at a D3 and then slowly went down to a D2, D1, so you were starting to get it unstable. You just need a little bit more power or slightly shorter feed line. But I remember the days you used to put a whopping great signal in. So you're on the right track. You're on the right track. Yeah, you're doing well with the, I think you're using Simon's software. Audio is excellent, a bit loud, but beautiful, bassy, nice, excellent audio. And your signal, when it comes up, is fantastic as well. All right, with that, I'm going to go QRT. I must run ZS6YI. And once again, wishing everyone all the best.